Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to another team update. This update will be the last one before I do my final team reveal for season 2018, which will be on the Thursday of the season opener. So there will be 8 days left by the time you guys are watching this. This will probably come out on the Wednesday night. There's been a few changes, a little bit of tinkering. There's no doubt about that. I'm not fully set on it. There might be one or two positions that are still up for grabs, which I'll talk about in a sec, but largely the most part of my side hasn't changed. Just a couple of positions given a bit of structure and a bit of depth in our forward line options. So I'll show you roughly what I had last time, and as always, this will probably test the eyes out because it's pretty small if you want to really take a look at that, but that's basically how my team looked. I'll give you a little bit of a brush over that one and we'll take a look at how it is shaping up now. As I said, not too many changes, but the main changes being clearly the fact that we are struggling for forward line rookies, and I think if there's a position that we have to have a bit of depth, it's definitely the forward line. Hence a couple of decisions to strengthen and beefing up that part of the field. Midfield's basically stayed the same. So here we go. So as you can see, just the 3 premiums, and it does look like a fairly weak back line, and it probably is, but I'll walk through a few things in a second. Midfield basically stayed the same, just a couple of changes as you can see from some of my rookies, and the rucks are fine. I'm not exactly sure why Grundy was on the bench. I must have been tinking around there and that didn't quite change over. And the forward line, as you can see, a 5th premium in there, which is Devon Smith. So the thinking behind that, I think not only are we struggling for rookies in the forward line, which means I've most definitely got to have as little as I can on the field, because not only are they struggling to have rookies even on offer, but they seem to be the likes of Ryan and a couple of other guys, Garlett, those types, who, even if they play, I just don't feel they're going to score that well. Tough to predict what a rookie can score, but they've got to feel the real Jared Pickett's about them, just a guy who's probably going to average around 45, 55. So that's concerning. You don't want to field too many of those. But in contrast, the back line has a stack on offer, and not only guys that are really going to play good games, but players that could definitely belt out good 70s and 80s. You know, I speak of Caulfield, Norton, O'Shea, even Murray, who's probably not going to be fielded. They're all guys that play offensive roles and have shown in the pre-season games that they can find the ball quite easily. So it just made sense because I think I can get decent averages off these guys, certainly in comparison to the forward line rookies. And look, to drop Elliot Yeo, I was neither here nor there. As you guys know, he has been in and out of my side a little bit. Do I like having Salem at D3? Yeah, it's a little bit risky, but sometimes you've got to take a risk somewhere, and the rookies basically answered that for me, comparing it to the back line and the forward line. So, Yo, he's going all right, but West Coast are going to struggle a lot. He's not going to have a ruckman really feeding it down to him, at least a decent ruckman. Who knows, a fully fit one. When will he get that opportunity? I'm just not sure. I was quite comfortable given the fact I felt something had to give for me to bolster that forward line, and I was quite comfortable that going Yo to Caulfield would be the answer. And look, just to put it a little bit simpler of what I actually have done, in essence, that's pretty much how my side has changed. There's a few changes there, but as you can see, most of them are just rookie names, and the only real one is, in essence, I've gone Yo to Devon Smith. All the others are rookies. Obviously, Cameron is a bit of a no-brainer if you want coverage in that ruck department. I felt Dow and Davies-Uniacke, they've looked okay at times, but you've got to pay a bit extra for them being top draft picks, and I think we're going to have on offer some pretty decent players that are 60, 70k cheaper than them. I like Will Brodie. I wouldn't mind getting Brayshaw in as well, Andrew that is. I think he could be a guy that if I wanted to get maybe just someone who looks even a little bit better in those last couple of midfield spots, I think Callie will be fine. Obviously we'll need to wait and see the teams, but yeah, Brayshaw would be one I'd be looking at. Even Jake Lloyd in the back line. I do love Lloyd and he's been in my side the whole time. But there's always just that little bit of thought, maybe someone like Shane Savage, they've both been really good through pre-season, but I dare say Lloyd would stay. And Brodie Grundy's up for grabs a little bit. If you caught my JLT wrap, I was a little bit concerned about the balance between Mason Cox and Brodie Grundy, sharing it quite a bit. Grundy's still playing great footy, but it concerns me if they are sharing it to that extent. I originally felt that Cox would play mainly forward, but he had 19 hitouts or something as well, and just depending on the game during the season proper, I'm just not so sure Grundy will get enough to produce 105 plus average. I think we'll still see high 90s, three figures, but if they're sharing it enough, is that going to be enough opportunity for Grundy to get around the ground and be on the ball and follow up work, which he does so well? Stephen Martin, 6K dearer, he's a man that at this point in time, Archie Smith not in the team, it's something I'm going to have to weigh up. It's a tough call because I do like Grundy a lot. It's a bit of a flip of the coin. Martin's pre-season form's been great. That's something I'm sort of sitting on at the moment. The forward line, as I said, Devon Smith's come in. I must admit I've had Walters in that position. I've had Sicily in that position. I've had a number of guys going through there. But at this point, I've settled on Smith. I was really impressed with him when I watched the Cats at Colac. He looked really sharp. I know he had 7 clangers. 5 of those were free kicks against. And I think Geelong got something like 45 free kicks. So not too often you're going to see that many times the whistle be blown. So I think I'll let him off the hook for a couple of those because it's not as though he butchered the ball. And he is getting forward and kicking the odd goal or two. But again, I'm not absolutely cemented on picking Devon Smith. So there will be some thought going into that. Dust Fogarty clearly put his hand up for round 1. Tex Walker's in a bit of doubt, but even so, I think Fogarty might be a chance to get a game. He was fantastic, kicking 3 goals, plenty of marks. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. I don't think I've missed anyone there. No, so I don't think so. But yeah, really starting to feel quite comfortable with it. As you can tell, not much of my core has changed. Those 5 premium midfielders have been pretty much the same for my whole pre-season. The only change I've made is Joel Selwood to Josh Kelly. And the back line, Laird's been there the whole time. Salem's come in somewhat recently, but Lloyd's been there the whole time. The ruck setup has been reasonably stable, and Heaney, Wingard, been mainstays of the forward line, as has Petrarca. Billings and Dalhouse have jostled it out, but I've set on Billings for sure with his form, and Devon Smith has just come in. And look, I've really enjoyed how these backline rookies have really appeared. They look like they might, and they have, so that's really good. All guys that play in a role that just sees them getting involved in that exit from defensive 50. Norton reads the play really well. Caulfield, a talented youngster. O'Shea, a mature age guy in a young team, plenty of opportunity. And Murray, also traded to the Pies. They wanted him, they've got him. Cemented his spot, one would think, with his final JLT game. And Tommy Doty looks great too. So I'm really comfortable with that, with where that is at. Mainly what I'm thinking about is probably Grody versus Martin. I think it's a real flip of the coin. And Devon Smith, where do I go with that? Do I lock him in? Do I go for a Walters? I know I pumped him up the other day, but I watched that game against West Coast and he just didn't attend enough centre bounces and stoppage work as I would have liked. Was that because they were giving Brayshaw more of an opportunity and Tucker and those guys? Or was it a full dress rehearsal of what we'll see? I wish I could give Ross a call and just say, "G'day Ross, what were you doing there? Was that what we'll see? Or were you giving some youngsters some opportunity?" It's a real tough one. Regardless, I think I've got a little bit in the bank, maybe 30k or something like that. If the thing wants to load. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I've got about 30k in the bank. So if I did want to move up to Andrew Brayshaw, or if I did want to move up to a Walters, I'd have to find some coins somewhere, 31k as you can see. So I'd have to probably find 20 or 30k. It's a much of a muchness. At this point, I'm pretty comfortable with the side's at. So it'll be interesting to see in 8 days' time whether this changes much or not. I'm sure the rookies will. I'm sure the rookies will change a bit. But overall, I don't think those premiums will change much. There might be a couple. Probably the main question on my mind is that ruck spot with Grundy, whether it's going to be him or Martin. But look, it's going to be interesting. It's getting close. We speculate for so long and talk about what if this, what if that, yeah, what about if he plays here and there. We've seen everything now. We've got to make a final call and lock our side in. So it will take a fair bit of thinking and debating in our own minds. But look, hopefully we can make the right calls and hopefully have a decent season. So that's about all I've got for you today, guys. We'll have plenty more coming over the next 8 to 9 days. Plenty of content, comparing players throughout each line, structured talk, Q&A, and of course a bit of video content as I unveil my final team for season 2018. So I look forward to you joining me then, and I'll be back soon. Cheers.